I remember the night I arrived at the old lighthouse, its beams still cutting through the darkness, but no one had tended it for decades. It stood alone on a jagged stretch of coastline, far from any town, and the wind felt like icy fingers scraping at my face. The locals wouldn't come anywhere near it after dark. They claimed it was cursed, haunted by restless spirits and tormented souls. But I had come precisely because of those whispered legends, determined to uncover the truth. I carried my camera, a dim lantern, and my tape recorder, ready to document whatever lurked within those ancient walls. The first time I set foot inside, the heavy door creaked so loudly it felt like a scream. Dust and salty grime coated the interior, the faint smell of mildew, fish, and something worse, something like old blood, hung in the stale air. By the flickering glow of my lantern, I spotted a spiral staircase winding upward into suffocating darkness. Every step I took kicked up motes of dust that danced ominously in the thin light. The silence was a presence, pressing in on me, as if curious about who dared trespass. I had spent weeks researching its past. The lighthouse had once been a beacon of hope, guiding ships safely through stormy seas. Several keepers had tended it over the centuries, and not all had left alive. There were accounts of freak accidents. A keeper who apparently toppled over the railing from the very top, his body found broken on the rocks below. A visiting family who vanished without a trace. Their boat drifting empty and blood-stained on the tide, and rumours of nighttime screams that no one could explain. It had a legacy stained with unexplained tragedy, and to the locals it was no longer a symbol of safety, but a harbinger of something unholy. I ventured deeper into its belly, carefully prying open old cabinets and desk drawers. I found tattered logbooks, half-finished entries that abruptly ended, the ink running off in a shaky scrawl. One entry described impossible things, a door that opened on its own, the sound of whispered voices just beyond the walls, and a figure glimpsed at the top of the stairs that could not have been human. That figure was described in detail. It was tall, gaunt, with elongated arms and a face that seemed twisted into a grotesque grimace. Its eyes, according to the keeper, shone like dead lanterns, void and hungry. The more I read, the more a feeling of icy dread settled into my bones. As I climbed toward the lantern room at the top, I began to hear things. At first, it was just a soft tapping on the stairs behind me. Then it grew bolder, a scraping sound, like fingernails dragging along the old stone. When I turned around, the corridor was empty, but I felt something there, lurking just out of sight. My tape recorder, which I had left running, picked up something, a faint voice that seemed to say my name. I froze, replayed it, and yes, it was unmistakable. It knew who I was. My heart hammered so hard I could taste copper on my tongue. At the top, the lantern room's windows were streaked with salt and grime. The ocean's roar was muted, as if held at bay. I found a stack of photographs left by a team of paranormal investigators who'd come years before. Most of the photos showed nothing, but one made my blood run cold. In it, a shadowy figure stood behind a man who was adjusting his equipment. The figure's arm was raised as if about to touch him, its fingers impossibly long and thin, ending in points. The man in the photo died a month later under strange circumstances, I learned from local records. I turned on my recorder again, asking aloud, "Is anyone here with me?" For a moment, nothing. Then a scraping sound rattled through the walls, and something heavy thumped on the floor beneath my feet, as if something huge had just dropped from the rafters above. The air grew colder, and my lantern sputtered, its flame shrinking to a feeble glow. I could almost see my breath. Then I heard it, breathing, ragged, slow, and too close for comfort. When I looked around, I saw it for the first time without the lens of a camera or photograph, a hunched figure in the corner, half hidden behind a crate. Its eyes gleamed like two wet stones in the dark, its mouth a gaping hole full of blackened gums and teeth that seemed too long, too jagged. It whispered something I couldn't understand, a wet, clicking language that defied sanity. I stumbled back, nearly toppling down the spiral stairs. My foot slipped, and I grabbed the railing, my knuckles going white. I knew I had to leave, but something compelled me to push further. Perhaps it was the madness of curiosity. The figure drifted closer, not walking but seeming to glide, its legs too long and bones protruding beneath rotted clothes that might once have been a keeper's uniform. The stench that rolled off it was unbearable, like rancid meat left in the sun. As it approached, the light of my lantern caught its eyes, and they reflected back emptiness. I felt the loneliness of centuries wash over me, the crushing weight of isolation. No living creature had touched it, spoken to it, acknowledged it in countless years. I ran, tripping and sliding down those stairs, feeling it behind me, reaching. My microphone picked up whispers and scraping sounds that would make even the bravest soul cringe. When I finally burst out into the night air, I realized I had scratches down my arm, thin, precise cuts that burned with a cold pain. I heard laughter, faint and mocking, carried on the wind. The lighthouse stood silent, its beam still rotating over the ink-black ocean. I knew that whatever dwelled there thrived on solitude, on broken minds and lost hope. I spent the remainder of the night on the shore, listening to distant waves and replaying my recordings. On them you could hear it, soft, breathy moans, words whispered in a dead language, and my own voice trembling with fear. I scoured through the old logs once more. One of the final entries hinted at something older than the lighthouse itself, an entity that might have come from the depths of the sea, or from the fevered nightmares of lonely men trapped inside that tower of solitude. Whether it was a ghost, a demon, or a manifestation of human madness, I cannot say, but I know it exists. I felt its cold breath on my neck. Today I still can't shake the feeling that it's watching me. I've never returned to that cursed place, but I can't forget it. The townsfolk nod grimly when I speak of it, eyes darting away. The lighthouse remains, a beacon of mystery against the unforgiving sea. It continues to draw curious souls, some of whom never return. And perhaps that is its legacy, to remain unsolved, its horrors forever etched in the minds of those who dare approach. I leave you with that lingering doubt. What truly resides within those old stones? Is it the work of spirits, the echoes of those who died there, or something more unknowable that feeds on fear and isolation? I encourage you to contemplate the nature of what I encountered. Leave your thoughts, your theories, your own haunting experiences, if you have them, and together we can peer into the darkness, waiting for the truth that may never come.
If this chilling tale gave you goosebumps, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more stories like this. Thank you for tuning in to Ghostly Echoes. Until next time.